Hello, I'm Dr. Q. Welcome to my channel. This is the third class of Principles of Economics. In this video, I'll explain why we need to learn theories or principles of economics and how do economists develop them with models. In this part, I'll also discuss how economists use graphical expression to illustrate economic relationship. Then I will cover some terminologies, micro and macroeconomics, positive and normative economics. Last class, we finished the discussion of definition for economics. Remember that economics is a social science helping social identities make optimal decisions in scarcity. We use marginal analysis to make optimal decision. In the discussion, we learned the law of diminished marginal utility. In future, you'll see that there are plenty of laws, principles, and theories in economics. The question is, how do the economists develop them? Well, just like any other science, using scientific method. The procedure always starts from observing life. For example, we say, if price of Coca-Cola decreases, more people purchase Coca-Cola because of the affordability. And this is true for many goods and services. Second, based on the observations, economists formulate a hypothesis, saying when price of a good or service decreases, larger amount or quantity of a good service will be purchased. This is called the law of demand, and it will be covered in a different video later. Thirdly, economists want to test if this is true all the time. If it's always true, accept it. Otherwise, we need to modify it. For example, we say that if Coca-Cola is not the only type of soft drink getting cheaper, when price of Coca-Cola goes down, the other substitute, like Pepsi, lowers its price as well, and might buy a larger amount. We probably won't see a surge in quantity demanded for Coca-Cola then. In the second quarter of 2020, the middle of COVID-19 pandemic, most commodity prices go down, but the majority of businesses report a dramatic drop on sales. Some businesses, especially the ones in apparel industry, filed bankruptcy. Does it mean the law of demand is violated? Not really, because other than price, there are so many factors influence the purchasing decision of an item, such as income and preference of consumers. People work at home and conduct social distancing, and some people lose their job. There's little incentive to shop for dressy clothes or shoes, but transactions for necessities that can be fulfilled online or remotely are highly demanded. That's why the technology companies, digital industries, online marketplaces thrive in a critical time. Therefore, in constructing the theories, economists use the ceteris paribus or other things equal assumption, the assumption that factors other than the one being considered do not change. Assuming all the other factors influencing consumers' purchasing decision, such as income, preference, price of related goods, consumers' expectations stay the same, price of a good increases, quantity demanded decreases, and the price decreases, quantity demanded increases. That agrees with almost all the transactions out there. Lastly, after rounds of testing and modifying the hypothesis, if favorable results accumulate, we say the hypothesis evolves into a theory. In economics, we call a well-tested and widely accepted theory as an economic law or an economic principle. Now, why do we need the theories or laws? Theories are like roadmaps. The real world has so many details. we probably don't need all of them in daily life. For example, the amount of details needed for I want to travel from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco as quickly as possible versus I want to go for the longest road trip across the state from east to west are probably different. But neither one needs all the details within and between the two places in the real world. While the economic world is very complex and perplexing as a whole, economists observe the consumption, production, and transaction of consumers, businesses, and societies, then develop theories and models to help predict and explain economic behaviors, understand how the economic world operates, figure out the causal and effect relationship. Theories and models give us the right amount of skeleton we need to understand economic body, while the real economic world is way more complicated. In general, economists put general speaking in front of statements, because when we focus on the average tendency of economic world, there are always exceptions or outliers. Other things being equal, if price of peanuts decrease, people buy more of peanuts. But again, my cousin is allergic to peanut. She won't buy no matter how price changes. Economists also love to use graphical expression to illustrate the relationship of a pair of variables. Previously, we said that there might be a lot of factors resulting in the change of a variable, say, other than price, income, and the price of related products will also influence people's purchasing behavior. But thanks for the other things equal or ceteris paribus assumption, we can focus on a pair of relationship. So we can illustrate their relationship on a two-dimensional axis set. You probably learned from high school math that in a causal effect relationship, we put the independent variable x on horizontal axis. X is the variable changes first. It is the cause of the relationship. We put the dependent variable, the effect or outcome y on vertical axis, and we examine how y changes in response to the change of x. And any point on the two-dimensional axis set represents a pair of information. In the parentheses, the first number is the corresponding x value. The second number is the y value. If we have a linear relationship, we have a straight line, we can use an equation of y equals a plus bx to represent. Here, letter A represents the vertical intercept, while the line cut the vertical axis at. Here we get 10. Letter B represents the slope. And you probably learned that slope is calculated as rise over run. That means if we pick any 2 points on the line, we put the change in y value on numerator, the change of x on denominator, the ratio of the two gives us the slope. Here, if we pick these 2 points, 1, 8 and 3, 4, the vertical change from B to D is -4. Horizontal change from B to D is 2. So the slope is -2. The negative sign defines the quality of the relationship, means x and y moves to the opposite direction. As x increases from left to right, y decreases. This downward sloping curve represents a negative or indirect relationship. The value 2 means as x increases by 1 unit, y changes by 2, the equation can be written as y equals 10 minus 2x. In economics, economists' graphical expressions are mainly consistent with mathematicians. Here's an example of the relationship between income and consumption. We want to examine how consumption changes in response to the change of income. There are tons of research studying this matter. Here are some hypothetical data summarized from the research. We can see that for each income level, there is a corresponding consumption level, or amount of money people on average spend. And there is a ladder representing the value of each pair of variables. At low income or no income, people still need to spend some money for necessities. And when income increases, consumption increases as well, but they're not equal to each other because of saving. We can plot all the combinations on the x-set, and a straight line linking all of them is a graphical expression. The vertical intercept here is 200. Now we pick 2 points, any 2 points on the line to calculate slope. For example, point A and B. The vertical change from A to B is 1200, and the horizontal change is 1500. The ratio is 0.8. The slope has economic meaning that as income increases by $1, consumption increases by 80 cents. In economics, we care about the slope as it tells us the marginal effect of a variable. Although economic convention is mainly consistent, there is one distinct difference. During so many years of my teaching, this difference gets so many students confused, and it's not their fault. The sloppy economists who did this are the ones to blame. Conventionally means there's not a good explanation. When economists study how price change influence quantity of a good purchased or sold, although price is the independent variable, and the quantity changes accordingly is the dependent variable, economists habitually put price on vertical axis and quantity purchased on horizontal axis. Actually, for a pair of variables, if one has dollar sign, such as price and cost, the other is amount or quantity, economists just put the dollar sign on vertical axis and quantity on horizontal axis. If you have no economic training, you want to do a bit of a self-brainwashing and just memorize it. Let's look at an example. The relationship between price of a ticket and the attendance of Carolina Panthers football game. The hypothetical data shows that when price is very high in $500, that is going to discourage majority of people from coming. When price drops, attendance increases, and when price is at $100, the stadium is at its full capacity. The vertical intercept is 500. We'll pick any 2 points, let's say, again A and B, to calculate the slope. The vertical change from A to B is negative 100. Horizontal change is 20,000. The economic meaning is that $100 job in price, increase the ticket sale by 20,000. If we want to get the marginal effect of price change, say, how does $1 change in price influence the attendance? We want to do a bit of a transformation of the equation. By moving quantity to the left by itself, we can see that the marginal effect is a $1 change in price, results in the attendance moving to the opposite direction by 200. It's easier to interpret the economic meaning after rearranging the equation. Graphical expression provides straightforward understanding about the relationship of a pair of variables. We'll use graphical expression intensively in future learning of principles of economics. Now, we finished covering how economists develop principles and models. Economists actually do this at two levels. One is microeconomics, the other is macroeconomics. Micro refers to something small. In economics, it studies the behaviors of individual consumers, households, workers, businesses, or a specific industry or market. Microeconomics examines the decision-making procedure at economic unit level. Macroeconomics focus on the big picture, examines the overall economic performance. There are topics in gross domestic product, GDP, business cycle, unemployment, inflation rate, and government policies such as fiscal and monetary policy. It studies the economic units in aggregate level. In economic study, no matter micro or macro, economists gather information to make economic suggestions. The economic information, facts, data, causal and effect relationship take place in real world are called positive economics. Positive economics focus on objective facts. If it's sunny out there now, we say it's sunny. That is a positive statement and nobody will argue about it. There is no judgment. Positive economics is about what it is, not what it is supposed to be. Give you a couple of examples for a statement of positive economics. Example 1. The 2012 annual GDP growth rate of the United States is 2.2%. Example 2. The report for unemployment of June 2020 by the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics saying that the national unemployment rate declined by 2.2 percentage points over the month to 11.1%, but was 7.4% higher than the June 2019. Both of them state economic facts or data. They are of positive economics. On the other hand, normative economics is about economic policy, and it is all about value judgments in regards to what the economy should be like and what economic policies we need to carry out to achieve the desirable outcome. Economists may argue in normative economics. When you come across the key words like should, need to, must, supposed to, or ought to, you're dealing with normative economics. There are so many of them everywhere on the news. For example, the US federal government must act fast for another round of a stimulus package to stabilize the economy in response to the pandemic and economic crisis. Or European countries ought to carry out policies to make the labor market more flexible to reduce unemployment rate. Both of them are recommendations for value-based economic policies, therefore normative economics. Alright, that is all I have for this video. Next, I'll move on to the individual economizing problem using budget line and the society's economizing problem using production possibilities frontier. Thank you for watching. Please like or share the video and subscribe my channel for more lectures in economics.